Hi, my name's Elizabeth Ekstrom. I am a extension educator with Nebraska Extension in Hall County. And today what we are going to talk about is we are going to talk about watersheds, and then we're going to build a watershed model. So for starters, what we're taking a look at is we need to know and we need to define what is a watershed. So a watershed is all of the land that drains runoff into a body of water, like a creek or a river or a lake. And the boundaries of the watershed is a ridge line of high land that surrounds it, like the edge of a bowl. So another term for watershed is a drainage basin, because that is where all the water from that particular place drains into. So first and foremost, we need to know why watersheds are important. So watersheds are important because as rainwater and as snow melts, it all runs downhill. And when this water goes downhill, it carries whatever is on the land nearest that body of water. So what we can see is we can see that water pick up particulates of soil, or maybe it picks up pieces of plant material that's left there. Sometimes we can see that water pick up and carry pollutants downstream. And so we need to make sure what's in that watershed stays in that location and it doesn't end up downstream. Now, sometimes that water, if the slope isn't really that steep in that location, that water will infiltrate or it'll soak in, and that will end up in the aquifer. Now, in other years, you probably learned about the Ogallala Aquifer being the largest aquifer, and it's under the state of Nebraska. So that's something that's really important, that we need to recharge that aquifer so we continue to have clean water that we can use for drinking and for irrigating crops. So everyone lives, works, and plays on land that drains into a body of water. It'll either drain into like a drainage swale or a drainage ditch, or it could go into a river, a lake, or even a creek. So your local watershed may lead to a tiny creek, but that will eventually drain into a river that will eventually lead into the ocean. So if we take a look at the screen right now, what we have are the major river basins in the state of Nebraska. So depending on where you're at in the state, you could be in the Loup River Basin or the Middle Platte River Basin or even the Big or Little Blue River Basin. So take a moment to find your county and determine what river basin that you fall into. Now, within those river basins, we have a lot of different watersheds. So, for example, in the Loup River Basin, we have the upper North Loop, the middle loop, the lower middle loop, the lower North Loop. So, we have all of those different watersheds that go into that basin. And all of it is part of the Mississippi River Basin. So if we take a look, Nebraska is right here in the middle. All of our water eventually ends up in the Mississippi River that ends up in the Gulf of Mexico. So it really makes a big difference what we do locally in our watersheds as to what happens farther on down the stream. So what we're going to do right now is we are going to make a crumpled watershed model. And it sounds really difficult, but it's going to be very easy. So I will show you some of the supplies that we need. We're going to need white paper, water-soluble markers, squirt bottle, and an extra towel, newspaper, or a large tray. So once we gather all those materials in one location, what we're going to do is we're going to build our watershed model. So for starters, what we're going to do is we are going to get a tray or a sheet pan, or you're going to use newspapers. But what you're going to do is you're going to put something down on the desk or table that you're working on. Then what you want to do is you want to take your white piece of paper. And remember, this is called the crumpled watershed model. So we are going to crumple up this piece of paper. The next thing we want to do is we want to go ahead and unfold this piece of paper a little bit. We still want to have some of these crumpled areas on this paper. But for starters, we really want to have some areas that are rivers and lakes, and some areas where we can have ridges and ridge lines and things like that. So what we want to do is we want to take a blue water soluble marker, and we are going to draw on our piece of paper where we think rivers and lakes would end up. So because we learned that a watershed is an area where land drains to, we're going to select those low-lying areas to draw with our blue marker. And this allows us to determine where those rivers and those lakes are going to go. Now the next step, and the reason that we have to have this extra sheet pan and towels or something to soak it up, is we're going to take our handy dandy squirt bottle, and we are going to squirt our paper to see if we can get our rivers and lakes to run. So what we'll see on this is we'll see that water soluble marker will really start to gather that water in those areas where those rivers and lakes are. And as you notice, that blue marker is running. And that's what happens, is it shows that those rivers and lakes will go from point A to point B, and we will go ahead and we will utilize that area as our watershed. So if you see, we have a big ridge line up here, and our watershed is down in here where we have that pooling of that water. So we're going to take it a step further right now. What we are going to do is we are going to take a second piece of paper. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to crumple it up. We're going to put it on here. But now we are going to use different color markers. We are going to utilize our blue for those rivers and lakes again. But we're going to start out with brown. And what we're going to do with the brown is we are going to highlight the ridges on our map here, because that is the area where it's going to be the tallest and the highest. So we're going to outline those ridges on here in brown. And you can do as much or as little as you would like with this. So once we get our ridges all marked on our piece of paper, we're going to take our blue marker, and our blue marker is going to be where we think we want to have those lakes and where we want to have our rivers. So I think we're going to have a nice river down this stream, and it's going to go down here to a lovely lake. You could put more of them on here if you want. We are going to take our green marker, and our green marker is going to help designate where grass is growing. So most of the time we're going to see that grass in those locations all over, wherever we want to have grass growing in those green areas. And lastly, we're going to take a red marker. Now with our red marker, what we are going to do is our red marker is going to help us to designate where towns are going to be located at. So we designate that we want our little town over here. Maybe there's a nice town on the hillside that's overlooking the lake and the river. And then maybe we have a nice little town over here. So what that's doing is that's helping us to know where we have that town. Now, again, you can color as much or as little as you want with this. Now what we're going to do is we're going to have it rain on our watershed. We're going to squirt it with water, and we are going to see what happens when it continues to rain on our watershed. Now, if you look really closely, especially in this town over here, you'll notice that that red is going downhill. So what we notice is that if we have a location where, let's say, we have a lot of people, we could have some cars that get worked on in a location, or maybe we have some fertilizers that get applied, or maybe let's say that we could have some livestock in that area. The thing to keep in mind is when we're in a watershed, all of those particulates and everything is going to run downhill. Now, keep in mind, we've got a nice, lovely side hill. All those particulates are not staying on the side hill. They're going farther down into our watershed. And if we wait long enough, we will see the grass, we'll see some of the dirt, we'll also see some of that go into the lake, which is the low side down there. So this is something to keep in mind. Now, what we can also do is we can do this again. And let's say we have an area where we have a large side hill where somebody has taken all that dirt off. Maybe they're having a really big development in that area. Maybe lots of people are building in that area, but we've taken a lot of the grass off the top on that side hill. Then when we have it rain, where does that dirt go? So all of that dirt is washing off of the side hill, and it's ending up at the bottom of that watershed. And the reason I pulled dirt out is that is one of our #1 pollutants that we have. So even though it's just dirt and it's naturally occurring, that's something that's going to end up in the bottom of our watershed. So we have a few discussion questions to go over. So when we think about watersheds, we don't need to think about a large land mass. We don't need to think about those rivers that go ahead and they drain into bigger rivers and go from there. We can have small watersheds in our neighborhoods or in our backyards. So we need to take a look at what are some of those examples of those small watersheds in your neighborhood. Do you have a drainage ditch? Do you have an area where water tends to go when it rains? Those are things to keep in mind. What are some streams, rivers, or lakes that the runoff water from your neighborhood empties into? So we start small and then we continue to get bigger. Now think about those pollution problems. Why do pollution problems tend to get worse farther downstream? And lastly, think about what are some ways you can keep your own watershed clean and to help the watersheds downstream. So take a moment, if you have time, to go ahead and research some of these following career paths. This will give you an idea on what these people do and how they work with watersheds or with water management. So look up a water resource manager, an environmental consultant, an aquatic biologist, a water quality scientist, or maybe even look up a habitat manager and see what each of these people do for their job. For more information or for more activities, you can visit water.unl.edu. On that website, we have all sorts of information as well as additional stormwater sleuth activities. Thanks for joining me and enjoy building your crumpled watershed model.